This episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Check out our affiliate link down below to help support the show. Welcome to the Play to Win podcast, where we talk about winning in CEDH. I'm Cam.
I'm Dylan.
I'm Tyler.
And this week, we're all together because we have a couple of questions that need to be answered that were given to us by our Discord.
We love our Discord.
We're doing a Q&A.
So this week, because some of us are on trips, by the time you're watching this video, we're just going to be doing a Q&A and answering some of the questions that our Discord patrons have asked us. So we're just going to jump right in. And our first question is from Nuke. This is, what's been the most enjoyable part of creating content, and what's been the most challenging part of creating content?
Ooh, and I can start with the most challenging is lack of time.
Yes.
But the most enjoyable is just having so many people see it. Like, I think that's like the best part. And like going to events and stuff like that, when we go to these like magic events and people like the content, that's to me, that's the most enjoyable part.
Yeah, definitely.
The community.
Yeah, the community aspects, the appreciation the community has for what we're doing really is what keeps us going and what keeps everything, coming. So,
And it seems like everyone who like knows our stuff is super cool. Like we always sit down to have games with people, and they are super fun to play with. Like just every time and time again, it's awesome.
Everyone's great. Everyone's very positive, and that kind of that's the coolest part to see.
Yeah, but you're definitely right. It's the time thing.
The time thing is for sure the worst part because it just takes so much time.
Keith Masterflex says, why hasn't YouTube recommended me a Play to Win video in over a year?
I might know the answer to this, but the true answer is nobody really knows. What my assumption is, YouTube doesn't recommend you every person you're subscribed to. It recommends the people that you click on the most often, and only like 3 or 4 of them. So if you don't automatically go to us before you would automatically go to some other people, they'll recommend those and not us, I think.
So thanks for making it obvious.
Put your notifications on. You can like ring a bell or something, and maybe you'll get more notifications.
That's how you see us pop up all the time. All right, Big TP15 says, if watsi asked you to create a mechanic, what would your input be, and how do you think it would change the format?
Oh, baby. All right, I know this one right off the bat. Mine would be some type of a mechanic that would make each opponent discard a card. Something like a Thoughtseize or something. Somehow, like a hand disruption in Commander. Some mechanic to make that viable or good. That's what I would do.
Like a whole mechanic based around it?
So it doesn't have to be a bunch of really broken cards, you know what I mean? But just like a mechanic that says when something for a very low amount of mana happens, each opponent discards a card that you get to choose from.
I would want a suspend mechanic that starts from the graveyard instead of in exile, where you put something directly into the graveyard and then you are able to interact with it with graveyard spells, and then it comes to the battlefield if you achieve whatever conditions apart from reanimating it unfairly or something like
That's
that.
cool.
I think that seems fun.
That'd be pretty cool.
So some type of like dredge thing, but not dredge, like a different type of...
Yeah, not dredge. Like put this from your hand into your graveyard where you can reanimate it, without discarding it, with the ability to say, I'm gonna in 3 turns be able to just return this naturally to the battlefield.
Okay, yeah.
I've never really been into design. The only time that I tried to design stuff was when I was trying to make my It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia set.
Right.
And the mechanic was drink. So you would just like drink 2, and you had to take 2 shots or drink twice or something. So
Cameron, I didn't think there would be Universes Beyond products that I would have hated more than ones that have already come out, but you're opening new vistas for me.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
Yo, no, that whole set was going to be so good. Removal spells that are just quotes from the show. Oh, it's amazing.
Okay. What's
All
next?
right. Whopper can do a kickflip says, do you think there is a deck archetype that CEDH would benefit from having that isn't currently in the meta?
I really wish there was a more viable like smallpox commander archetype, like make your opponents discard, because I loved playing smallpox in modern, and I don't think it's good enough anymore. Dylan would love this too. So that is an archetype that I really wish we did kind of have as viable. Tiny Bones was sort of close, but like it's just not good enough.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be awesome.
Scott H says, what are the most misunderstood MTG rules that are important for CEDH? Holding priority for Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation, resetting priority, cleanup set for Gitrog, a lot of other examples listed here.
Trinisphere.
Trinisphere.
We got a bunch of comments on it last time. Specifically layers, which is even a part of the rules that I don't fully grasp all the time. What I do know is that Trinisphere happens last. So
that's not layers though. Layers is a different thing, which is also really difficult and fucked up.
Yeah.
Layers is when you're figuring out like what happens with a Blood Moon and a Dryad Arbor.
Yeah.
But the Trinisphere thing is the whole calculating cost thing.
Right.
And you're right that Trinisphere is the last step, and it basically just gets its own step where it says after you have done every other discount and every other thing that makes it cost more, actually in the reverse order. Trinisphere says, okay, at the end of all of that, does it cost 3?
As long as Trinisphere sees that you paid 3 mana, it does not care. It doesn't tax you further than that.
See, to me,
That's a
that
very good
sounds
one.
like a layer. Like it's another layer added is the
I think
Trinisphere
it's a
layer.
Yeah, maybe it's not a magic layer, but
Here's another one that comes up lately with Tayam is there is one moment in that deck where it's very important that there's an action that you can take before state-based actions are checked. And this matters, I think, for Wall of Roots because it can have like counters enough that it would die as a state-based action to having 0 toughness, but you still have an action that you can take in that space, which I think is activating Tayam. I think you can remove the counters before it dies to the state-based action.
Oh.
So knowing when state-based actions are checked does not come up a lot, but when it does come up, it's confusing as hell.
state-based actions, the casting of spells, which is Trinisphere, and layers like Blood Moon, and when Blood Moon applies and when it doesn't, which it normally does end up applying, but.
Well, yeah, it always ends up applying. It's in what order is what it comes down to.
Replacement effects?
Also
part of
can
Magic,
be a
yeah.
tricky one. Yeah.
That's part of Magic, yeah. All right, well, let's move on. I think that's good. Kixar says, what card art do each of you enjoy the most, regardless of how good the card is itself?
Okay, let me think about this.
What's your
my-
favorite
I mean, since it's
art?
Kixar, I gotta say that Silverman library you did, dude, is pretty way up there. But I think you mean like card art that's actually on the card. So, that's tough.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Alpha Mountain, the one with the blue background.
Yeah.
That I think is my favorite art because I don't know why that mountain, I think it's just awesome. It's super simple. Love it.
The other one I will say that I really, really love is the Rebecca Guai Wood Elves. I am really fond
Yeah,
of that.
That one is
That's
really
a good
good,
one.
yeah. I don't appreciate Magic art enough. Like, my answer to this is just Sun Titan, because it's my favorite card.
Yeah.
And he just looks so fucking badass up there.
I feel like if you looked as cool as possible, you would look exactly like Sutton Titan.
Like, me personally, Cameron, if I looked as cool as possible.
you would look like Sutton Titan. I think he's
Oh,
got like
boy.
long blonde hair or something.
Yeah,
Like,
but I still have a lot of work to do before I'm Sun Titan level.
yeah.
You gotta get much larger.
Yeah.
But at least now I
Like,
have a
he's
goal.
huge.
Like, I can go to like a personal trainer and I can say,
This is what I wanna
wanna
look like.
like.
Sun Titan.
I can go to a salon and I can say, this is what I
Give
want to
me
look
this.
like.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, my life changed as of today.
New vision, new goals.
New vision.
You
new
may not
goals.
like it, but this is what peak recursion looks
You're
like.
gonna be Sun Titan, and I'm gonna be Grave Titan,
You're gonna have like guys spilling out of your guts and shit.
full of corpses.
Full of corpses.
We're doing our favorite Titans, I thought.
Yeah, we are doing our fight.
Yeah,
that
which, you'd be Inferno Titan, I feel like.
Well, I don't know what the other two are, so
Frost
We'll be
Titan and
Frost
Sun Titan.
Titan
Oh, Frost
and
Titan and
Prime
Primeval
Titan.
Titan.
yeah.
Oh, I would want to be primetime, 100%.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but you have. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, all right.
But you have to do
Primeval
what?
Titan
No,
is-
please finish your
no,
thought.
you have to be. Yeah, you have to be a
okay.
beast. Then you have to be Primeval Titan.
So the
Alright.
Primeval Titan's the Beast Titan.
Yeah.
And now who's the
Oh.
Attack Titan? And who's the
Interesting.
Armored
this Attack
Titan?
on
See,
Titan
I
thing?
want to be the
Yeah.
Armored Titan because that's my favorite Titan. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like maybe you could be the Attack Titan.
I could be the Attack Titan.
Yeah.
I feel like I've never thrown a fucking punch in my life.
Okay. Maybe
I would be the worst.
Maybe
Attack
you'd be
Titan.
the Cart Titan then. on all
I would be
fours.
no. I'd be the Beast Titan.
You
'Cause
want to
I'm
be
not.
the Beast
I'm
Titan. I
not
thought
good
Tyler
in,
was a Beast Titan.
No, I'm not good in combat.
But he's the Primeval Titan, so
So
he's the
that's
Beast Titan.
that's a whole completely different
I
conversation.
don't understand. I'm Titania now, so
We're,
fine. Which-
we're talking about Attack on Titan now. This is an Attack on Titan podcast. All right, this is another question from Scott H. How has your perspective on CEDH changed since you became a content creator? Are there certain decks you prefer or dislike from your own personal preference, or ones that make you, let's start with the first part. How has your perspective on CEDH changed since you became a content creator?
I want to say, for at least for me, when I started playing CEDH was so close to when we started making CEDH content, because I was pretty devoutly casual only before then, that I cannot separate like the content creator perspectives from the learning CEDH perspectives. And I don't know how much that's true for the other guys, but like it is just impossible to disentangle what is because of content creation and what is because of learning CEDH over that period of time.
It's definitely been the largest chunk of CDH for me. I was only into CDH kind of like vicariously through others for like a year or so, not even before we started making content. So for me, yeah, CDH is just, this is how I look at it. It's just through the lens of content.
CEDH is CEDH no matter what lens I'm looking at it through. And I don't really think there's anything that... I mean, I guess I have the opportunity to play more decks because of the channel, but that doesn't mean that I still don't lean to my favorites when I'm personally playing my own decks then.
I would say you and I, and maybe me even a little more, we are not particularly tied to decks that often. I think probably because of content, because I play different decks almost every single week. So
All the time.
I really don't get super attached to specific decks. Whereas you
Yeah,
get
me too.
very specifically attached to decks. So we're just different, obviously.
I bet also that because we end up playing so often with other content creators or sort of having a lot of people sort of at hand that want to play CEDH, I imagine our experience is pretty different from people who are pulling people into CEDH and kind of getting people who might be reluctantly on the border to like, come on, just try it out, you know?
I mean, for me, if I was getting into CEDH, if I didn't create content, this is how in it I would be anyway. I'd be in the know. I'd be following the same people on Twitter and everything. So I don't really think I'd have that big of a different perspective if I wasn't in the content circle.
Yeah.
Olazep says, in your statistics episode, winning through combat damage was a surprisingly large number. Do you think people should be trying more non-infinite based combat decks in CEDH? No. Please no. Oh, God. I don't have to sit through all that all the time.
I don't think so, but I do think you should have a firm plan C option that does involve you being able to exist in like a combat focused situation. I think that was like a really wordy way to say it. I don't think it should be most decks' main focus, but I think it's fine to have a couple cards that interact favorably just through combat.
I also think this came up when they printed was it the red-green mana dork that like makes all your guys bigger? Ragged Draga, yeah. I feel like it's only a matter of time before another like very combat-enabled deck gets printed. Like I think this is relatively inevitable. So, you know, it's probably worth planning and expecting that to continue to be part of the meta until it suddenly is like a very good deck. The same way sort of Winota made combat feel more imminent.
I think there's not going to be as many of those. Like I think we'll continue to see more combo enabling commanders hit CEDH as opposed to combat ones, just because I can't imagine how much higher the ceiling is going to be than Winota. We're probably going to see a lot more stuff that's kind of in between Winota and Ragged Draga is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I also think that no matter how, like the combat thing, yes, absolutely, but no matter how hard you push combat, it's hard to beat Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation in any fair way.
Yeah.
You'd have to have like a one mana 40/40. That would have to be on comparison level power wise.
And that's not coming
And that's
anyway.
not coming, you know?
And it would make casual miserable,
And it
so
would
it
make
would never
casual
work.
miserable, yeah,
So
yeah.
really the only way in which this functions is if it preys on something that really only CEDH does. You'd have to be talking about something that gets enormous based on the number of artifacts or number of spells played in a turn or something else that differentiates CEDH.
MTG Fox Mulder says, MTG and WotC's decisions sometimes overwhelm and make me sad. How do you all handle these slumps when and if you ever do feel them? I don't work for WotC, so
I don't give a shit what WotC does. I'm just gonna pick the stuff I like and ignore the stuff I don't like.
That's kind of how I am too.
There's so much fucking stuff. I can just so easily not pay attention to shit I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I'm gonna turn a blind eye to absolutely everything that they do, but like, I've been playing this game for 12 fucking years. Like, I've seen so much stuff that they do, and just like anything else, there's going to be good news days and there's going to be bad news days. And all you have to do is just, again, like focus on what you can handle. If you can't handle it, then don't focus on it.
I think I feel very hopeful about it because the community and the CEDH community in particular is really communicative and engaged with each other. And so if the same kind of thing goes down where Hasbro pressures WotC to like make a ridiculous and completely unacceptable money grab like they did with the Dungeons and Dragons thing where they tried to like revoke the open gaming license and that sort of thing, I have a high degree of confidence that the community would push back effectively and in a unified way. So like it's hard to get upset about it because at least right now I kind of feel that as much as Hasbro is trying to like squeeze it all out, like they're just not going to succeed because the player base is strong enough to push back.
The other thing that I always will keep in mind too is that I know that WotC is a company and not one person with like feelings and empathy and shit like that. So I'm prepared for them to not do the right thing many times over.
Yeah.
So when you set your expectations very low, it's really hard to be disappointed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Scott H has another question. Can we get a Nate episode discussing how to do mulligans?
Okay, so Nate really isn't that bad at turn one plays. It was like a bit of a meme that we tend to point out when he's particularly bad, but no, we're not going to have a whole podcast.
No, that'd be funny though. That'd be funny. Divine says, if you could have any character from any IP be printed as a commander and be viable in CEDH, who are you picking?
Guts.
Oh yeah, we're all just gonna pick our favorite anime character.
No. I have to find this guy's name right now before I fuck it up.
You don't know his name?
No, because it's a Chinese name that's difficult to pronounce. What's the detective character?
Who'd you pick?
Oh, Inspector Gadget.
Is it Inspector Gadget?
It's Inspector Gadget. Sherlock Holmes.
What would be the worst? What would be the one that you say, no, I'm out now. I can't.
Oh, the second that it's like cereal mascots. Like once we get to like a Toucan Sam and like a
that feels close.
it kind of does. Like we've already had like products with like love sacks.
I think American Presidents was where I would back out. That's where my line is drawn.
Yo,
if they did like George Washington,
that set would be lit. Dude, no. Like Nixon like goes into like your opponent's library and shit.
That's fucking awful.
I looked down at my phone for 1 second. And
American Presidents is where I would draw the line.
Dude.
That would be the worst secret layers.
No, I want like commander decks based around them. Like the founding fathers would be one pre-con commander deck, and you could switch it between like Jefferson, Washington, and Adams, and like
they have partner.
Having said nothing, I'll say Kaladin from the Mistborn series.
Omuni says, which commanders do you wish were CEDH playable that just barely don't make the cut?
Xyrus, the Storm. I love that casual deck, and it is awful close.
Toxic Cat says, when's Canlander coming back?
Oh, when it pops up on my Twitter feed enough, I guess.
So what, are we going to have a Dan episode at some point?
I feel like the boat already went over a little bit, but maybe
Did you
it's
see
still here.
the Sky Baby shirt, the Dan Revolution?
Yeah,
I love that
cool.
shirt. That is a great piece.
Well, the new one is Benny's that I'm seeing a lot in my
Benny's?
feed. It's
What's
when you buy a $100 deck at an event, just out of whatever people have.
You have $100 to make a 60-card 4-of
okay.
deck. So you buy 4 Soul Rings and then whatever else you want to put in there.
Oh, interesting.
Mortem says, do you feel that as longtime Modern players, you both have a stronger grasp of threat assessment in CEDH? I got an answer for this. I feel as a longtime Modern players, I have a weaker grasp of threat assessment.
Really?
Well, yeah, because I'm so used to there only being one person who's threatening me. So sometimes you see the first thing that's threatening and you go, "Whoop, that's gonna kill me. I'm gonna deal with that." And in CEDH, like that kind of mentality is gonna set you so much farther behind.
Yeah. I think I would agree that threat assessment isn't the skill that I take from 60-card formats. There are skills that I take from 60-card formats, like feelings, like stuff like tempo, but I don't think that I particularly take threat assessment from Modern format, no.
Adobe says, if you could ban or unban any EDH cards, what would they be and why?
I would not.
I wouldn't either. I would keep the format the same.
Would you guess them?
Nope. Play to Win's official stance is no bannings.
I would unban Scheherazade.
Oh, okay. No, that's fair. Play to Win's official stance is no bannings, but unban Scheherazade.
I would love to unban Balance. Balance would be a card that I would love to play with. That would be so much fun.
All right, you're not allowed to ban white cards.
I'm not. I'm unbanning. I'm unbanning Balance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're unbanning Balance, and all the other white cards on the ban list we're going to take off.
Oh, okay.
Scheherazade, Balance.
Are there any other white cards?
Yeah, there's one. It's a lands thing. Like your opponents can't play lands if more than 5 lands exist in the
limited resources.
That card is banned. Yeah.
Don't bring LSV or Marshall to a commander pod because they're a ban. That was a funny joke, Cameron.
Very good.
Sandman says, is Tyler still single?
Why are we doing this?
I like how it was, is Tyler still single? Like it's a dig
great.
at you at the same time.
Thanks a lot, Quaja.
Divine says, if you could have any partner gain, partner with Prismatic Piper, who would you pick? It's just basically the same thing as adding another color to a deck, except you lose out on a card.
If you could, what?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Say that one more
I
time?
would not.
Adding another color to a deck, but you lose out on a card because now you have to play a shitty partner instead of a 99th card in your deck.
But what was the question? If you could add it to any?
If you could have any commander gain, partner with Prismatic Piper.
Well, I will answer. I would 100% put red in Kinnan. That would feel amazing.
Oh, yeah. If you could play Dockside and Kinnan, that would be fucking awesome.
Fucking nuts.
Yeah, that
would
would be great, but
Yeah,
we
that'd be
can't.
fucking
So
awesome.
we're going to move on. The Gentleman, which of your casual decks would you most want to push into CEDH and why? What about the other way around?
This was a question you answered, Cyrus. But you got an answer.
I don't want that push. I think from our casual podcast, it's pretty clear that I want to keep them separate.
Yeah.
So I don't really want any of them to be better to the point where they become CEDH playable. I want that separation.
Are there any CEDH decks that are doing something you really wish you could reasonably do in casual? The other half of that?
I did for a while want to build like a casual Gitrog deck and just be like, oh, Evolving Wilds is bad. I can just play like cards like that. But it
does seem really fun.
It easily, I feel like, just gets absolutely broken and busted.
still,
so
yeah.
Kinnan, obviously.
Yeah, there you go. You could play that casually.
Yeah, I think you could.
Don't play any mana sources.
Lands only.
Yeah.
All right, Sandman has another question. What color combination or strategies do you like or dislike playing against or being on?
I do not dislike playing against any type of Magic. If I'm playing against a Magic deck, I'm having a great time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I am mostly on that. You didn't say CEDH only though, so I will say that I find it frustrating to play against land destruction decks. That is one of the few things that can just tilt me out. Like
Tron. Can I say Tron?
I'm gonna start playing Strip Mine in my CDH decks to tilt Tyler. Hopefully, get some percentage.
I don't think it
points.
would work in CEDH. I'm thinking like when like modern like the Stone Rain deck, that thing like that was deeply unfun.
If you played in Modern right now, there's a deck called Scam. I think you would hate it. It's not necessarily land disruption, but they shred apart your hand very, very quickly.
I don't mind being Thoughtseized.
Oh,
I
you don't
told you
mind that as much.
Smallpox was
Okay,
like my
so
favorite
you want to
thing.
play?
Do you like
don't
being
mind that.
thought seized 3 times
Yeah.
over the course of
The
one
first
and a
two-
half turns?
Yeah,
I mean, probably not, but like
that one's not as bad. It's specifically
I'll
land
find out when I
destruction.
put Amulet Titan together and get just absolutely fucking wrecked.
Zeno says, out of the 4 of you, who do you think is the best and worst at certain aspects at the table? Like brewing, mulligans, threat assessment, politicking, rules knowledge, or pronunciation?
I don't know. What do you think? I feel like Tyler is probably the best at like long form thought. Like you're a chess player, you know how to play like games.
Long strategy, yeah.
strategy.
I
Like
think I might
you
be.
can create and hold on and pivot on strategies very quickly in the long game. I think my greatest skill is just like maybe knowledge of the format. Like I know how a lot of the things work. Maybe not perfectly, but like I have an idea of like what's the threatening thing. So I think threat assessment I'm decent at too. But I also just like forget onboard shit a lot of the time. And I feel like you are also very good at like tempo. Like you are very good at like knowing when, Cameron, you are good at like knowing when to go for a win, knowing when to say, instead of doing this, I'm going to try to do this to throw you off balance or something like that. Like you have a pretty good grasp
Yeah,
of tempo.
100%
That
agree
would
with
be
that.
my first reaction.
I'm really glad you guys had an answer for that because I didn't have any answers.
I'm curious what you think about this, but because this was one of the parts of it. I think we're all at a very similar level because we've all been playing for so long. But I think I might be a little better on technical rules knowledge. I feel like I just retain that stuff for some reason.
Specific things. Yeah, I
you
agree.
got a good like computer brain and like
You got a
all,
good
anything
computer brain,
rules
agree.
related like that.
My boss is going to be really relieved to hear you say that.
Yeah, best memory, Tyler. You definitely have that as well for sure.
Politicking. So I would if we did this podcast 2 years ago, I would say Tyler.
Yeah.
But now our new approach is if Tyler's saying anything to you, you shut him up and you do the opposite of what Tyler's saying
Whatever
to
Tyler
you.
says to do, don't do that. So I have a theory that politicking is never a good move. You should never try to politic because if you show what you want, everyone knows what you don't want. And you should also never listen to politics because why would you listen to what your opponent wants you to do? That doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't do that. So I basically never politic, or at least I try to never politic. But sometimes you kind of have to like have a conversation with people. I just wish that you weren't allowed to in CDH.
Yeah, I feel that.
But I mean, you definitely lose more games if you don't tell your opponents what you're seeing and what you perceive as the threat.
That's the issue
not
is you lose.
To me, that's not necessarily politicking. Like
This is the thing. It's a fine line.
there is, because to me, like politicking is like when you are. I guess it is a fine line because to me, like you're actively trying to sway someone to your side,
Anytime,
almost like a debate. If you're trying to like educate someone on like, no, this is why this is this scenario, and you have like real reasons to back it up, as opposed to, well, I feel statements. Then I think that's the
sort of thing
line.
is definitely something. Can I also say I'm curious sincerely about your opinion on this? If I try to like say something about like, oh, I don't think I'm doing well or something, this is the kind of comment where you're like, oh, he's downplaying his shit. Tyler is full of shit and he's about to try.
I
and win.
did say that last time because
Right.
you had Timna, and I was
Right.
like, no one fall for this.
No, here's my question:
Yeah.
Is that in itself politicking? Because you're saying, "Oh, this is now bullshit." Because he said that, I am now going to say he's definitely going to win.
Like what I'm doing is
When
politic.
you-
That is also
I
politicking.
think so.
Yeah.
So my,
Definitely.
my definition of politicking is anything that you say that's not a game action. As if your intent is to win the game, anything that you say is politicking. Anything that you say that's trying to let your opponents feel a certain type of way, to me, that's a form of politicking.
Good luck, have fun. It's
Good luck,
politicking.
have fun. It's politicking.
Yeah. Don't fucking do it.
After the game begins, anytime. I mean, and obviously this is not true. Sometimes people don't think this. They're just speaking because that's what they're speaking.
Yeah.
But to me, if you are saying anything that's not a game action, I'm taking that as like another layer of information. And for me, that is under the umbrella of politicking, I think. But yes, when I say no one listen to Tyler, I think that is a version of politicking, which I don't love to do, but I will respond politic. You know what I mean?
I wasn't coming at you
no,
for
yeah,
it.
I
It's just-
understand. Yeah. Like when Tyler has Tymna, he's like, I only have 2 cards in hand and it's turn 1, but I have 4 mana and a Tymna out. I said, no one listened to him.
Yeah,
that's still good. He's tricking you.
That's really good. Yeah. All right. So Slayer8896 says, what is the most memorable play you have done to win the game? Or to lose when it didn't work out?
So this is probably a CDH question. I have one specific memory in my head when I played Standard a long time ago where I won on a mulligan to 3. That win is still very locked in my brain forever. As far as like CDH specific wins, I don't know if I retain like a specific, like my favorite win.
I'm in the same boat because when I immediately go to my favorite win, I think of a vintage
really?
cube game that I did. Yeah, but no, I don't think of like a CEDH game immediately.
I don't remember my opponents, but there was one like pretty early on when I had first built Kinnan. It was still on Stroke of Genius as an infinite mana like outlet to kind of draw your deck.
Yeah,
but it could also instant speeds kill opponents. And I have one distinct memory of there was a Thorical win on the stack, and everyone had given up on the counter magic against it. So let Consultation resolve, and then with the Thorical win on the stack, I forced them to draw their entire deck, and
that's awesome.
You know, cancel the victory that way, and then won the game.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Oazep says, do you like the Universes Beyond products, or does it feel not like Magic and take you out of the game rather than into it? What is even out of the game? I'm not in the game. I didn't like Blue Skidoo Weekend 2 like our way into the cards, and now I'm like, my
Why'd you take that one very literally for some reason? That question.
I don't know.
You're like, that's preposterous. I can never be inside of the cards.
I can't be inside it.
Overall, I don't care. I think it's kind of nice. Magic has certainly changed quite a bit since it happened. It kind of changes everything about Magic, but I think it's nice. I mean, Magic is now the Super Smash Brothers of card games. It's just a conglomeration of all of our favorite entities. Super Smash Bros. Is awesome. Magic is awesome. It's just different than what it was before.
Honestly, I'm surprised they weren't doing this 20 years ago.
I mean, they kind of were. I mean, like Frankenstein was in the set, and there was like things from like pop culture that were loosely tied to
translated.
Magic. Yeah, but they were
like
translated.
Magic's version of them, so they were different.
But even in the beginning, in Alpha, there were quotes from real books as like flavor text and stuff. So like they technically did do it in the very first set.
Well, and Universes Beyond technically started with Legends, because the first Legends that were printed were D&D character sheets from WotC employees.
There you go.
These are Universes Beyond. This was not part of the Magic universe.
Same thing.
That's true.
I guess WotC is D&D, so
I know. That one specifically is a little close.
I want to say I alluded to this in the set review, but I have to admit, after the Lord of the Rings set, which is Universes Beyond, like prior to then, I had been like, I hate Universes Beyond products. I can't stand that they're doing this. If this joy that I'm feeling now from this Lord of the Rings set is what people have been feeling from their IPs that they love that have made their way into Magic, I'm sorry I begrudged you that. This is fucking great.
Yeah, it is fucking awesome. The Lord of the Rings set, I think they knocked it out of the park. I love the set. I think it's such a cool set. I mean, Lord of the Rings is like the best way that this one's ever going to work out, because the world is so deep. They have so many characters that are so easily relatable. There are definitely potential IPs, and I think that's everyone's big issue with Universes Beyond, is just like their own fears and anxiety of what could be, right? Like that's the biggest issue. What's the floor? What if they do Tony the Tiger? That would be really, horrifying. Like that's the worst thing about Universes Beyond. But overall, I like it.
But like they already did Fortnite, and Magic's not dead.
Yeah, and they did Fortnite and My Little Pony. For me, I don't know if there's I don't know if there's things that I care less about than that.
They did My Little Pony like years ago,
long time ago.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that was before you. Yeah, it was before Universes
umbrella,
Beyond.
yeah.
But still, same thing.
Smacks of the Depends adult diaper. Year of the Depends adult diaper. I think
what is that?
It's a joke from Infinite Jest where David Foster Wallace is implying that some point far in the future, like the very calendar itself will be sponsored by corporations.
That's funny.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This year's brought to you by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Slayer has another question. Do you think WotC should do reprint sets like how YuGiOh does theirs?
How does YuGiOh do theirs?
What the fuck is Yu-Gi-Oh?
All right, I have a question from Jan.
Yeah, give it to me.
Best non-Italian noodle dish.
Vegetable lo mein.
Yo, that's a great one.
Vegetable. Easy.
That's a great one.
That's a staple of my life. Vegetable lo mein.
Drunken noodle.
Ramen.
Ramen's
Oh
good.
yeah, I should have picked ramen. Ramen's good. Yeah, I do the soy sauce ramens, like the blue packs. You can get like 6 of them for like a couple bucks or something.
I'm spoiled. Brandon decided it was his mission during pandemic to make excellent ramen.
It's
so
such a
my roommate
difference.
just makes me incredible homemade ramen.
Yeah, it is really a big difference for microwavable ramen, but even the microwavable stuff I like.
How long before Orcish Bowmaster gets the band hammer? That's a question from Kiss Merrick.
Probably never. I hope never. It doesn't seem that good. I don't know. I mean, it's a powerful card. I'm excited to play it. I don't want it to get banned though.
I think it's close, but I think if it does get banned, the rules committee has been pretty clear that they're going to assess it for a bunch of months. So I would say, probably at least 6 months. months before it gets actually axed, if it's going to get axed.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't get banned. I don't know why it would be so overly busted in casual. Like
They have announced that Hullbreacher is like the signpost for what they don't want to see play in Commander, which is that like preventative draw. So I don't think they're gonna ban another card that's just like it. That's just not how the Commander ban list works. They don't ban based on power level. They ban based on like, this is a theory of a card that we don't really want to exist.
Right, but if they printed in Garruk's Wake for 2 mana, they would probably ban
They'd have
that.
to step in, sure.
And this is not that far from doing that.
Okay, I think this one is still like a reasonable card. I think it's going to be similar in power level to some of the stronger things that we have in the format, but not miles above them.
I think it's reasonable too. It costs 5, right? 2. Oh no, it's not reasonable. Sorry, I was confused.
No, at what rate? I think at 3 mana this would have been much more acceptable. If it was like black 1, I think this would not be a scary card.
I think we're in 4 territory for me to feel like this is an okay card to
It's
print.
not that. Just fucking kill it.
really? 4 mana for this?
Yes.
Come on, card draw is so good, and everything that shuts off card draw just gets banned, and everyone just complains about it all the time. And then there's no punishment for when people just get to draw all these cards off Rhystic Study. If we're gonna allow, especially on the casual side, if we're gonna allow people to not pay for Rhystic Study, we need something to make it worth our while. You can have the card, but I'm just gonna do 1 fucking measly little damage, and we're all
never
gonna
1
bitch
damage.
and moan and complain about it.
This is called the straw man argument when you say that I'm fighting you on the point of like punishing card draw. I think we should absolutely punish card draw, and then we don't do it enough. I'm saying this is not a way in which I think we should punish card draw. So like I don't take issue with the idea of punishing card draw and having powerful effects. I just think that a completely one-sided board wipe for a huge amount of card draw is not the way to go about it. That also makes a giant creature. I think that's
Don't
too
draw
much.
that many cards. Like if you're in a casual pod that's drawing that many cards, reevaluate the casualness of your pod. Like if you're constantly wheeling and having like 20 damage a turn coming from this thing, like reevaluate where your pod's at, because Wheel of Fortune, that's something that I'm not playing too much in casual. So
Yeah, the only issue that I have with this being too strong, truly, is that the fact that the person who draws the card isn't the one who's punished. So there's a lot of like king-making situations where like player 2 will knowingly cast a wheel if they say, hey, will you shoot all your damage at the Winota player's board to get rid of it, or something like that. That feels like there's going to be like kind of unfinished situations that come of it, unfinished. But to me, it feels like a powerful card that is on the similar power level to things like Drannith Magistrate and Thassa's Oracle. Yeah. And I feel like you need some of the hate to be as good as the threats. You need the answers to be as good as the threats for a healthy format. Yes. And I think this is as good as the threats.
All right, we'll do one more question here from Wounded Satellite. What moments and milestones in your Magic content creation careers have brought you the most joy, personal satisfaction, or sense of accomplishment?
Like top 8ing at PTQ or something.
Wait, content creation careers.
Oh, I thought it was Magic creating.
Well, it is Magic / content creation careers.
Yeah, for Magic it would be like top 8ing, like doing it well in a tournament is like my highest or something like that. If we ever get to 100,000 subscribers and I get that fucking plaque, that will be my biggest one.
The plaque is the goal.
Plaque.
Like the next step is the plaque.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do, is get to the
I
plaque.
want that fucking plaque.
I want it so bad.
But I gotta stay hungry, so I'm gonna say nothing has satisfied me in content yet. I still want more.
Yeah. Like there's stuff that feels good, like hitting 50,000 felt good, but I get a fucking plaque for hitting 50,000.
I want that plaque.
I want a plaque. I want to nail it on my wall.
I don't know. I feel like looking up and realizing that we have a Discord community of like 400 people that fires a pod every night was a really, really sick moment.
Dude, you totally downplayed the Discord. There's like 900 people that are on the Discord.
I mean, active people who are in there routinely.
Oh,
like,
that? Yeah, probably something like that.
Total users are much higher than that. But
yeah, we're making a joke.
Well, thank you everyone who submitted questions. We really appreciate all of you.
If you want to submit questions for the next Q&A, you can do that on our Discord, which you can find on our Patreon for $1. Also, big thank you to our $100 patrons.
Cool Bean Man, Luke Cook, Young Mox, AJ Alwo Sebi, Demon of Rosgrees, Kawaja A. Hamid, Lauren Connell, and Baby Jeebus.
Huge shout outs to our sponsor, Dragon Shield. Check out the affiliate link down below to help support the show. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.
goodbye.
Should we all do them at the same time?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Lutri's dad, Stashes, Mitchell Shepard, Justin, Man Solo, Nikola Marikovic, Steven Shalikti, a big TP15, That Green Guy, Pedro, Jacob Depp, Michael Ballou, Jan Wildfang, Thomas Bueno, Swampy McGee, David Nelson, and Jorvags. Nice. Cringe King. We all know and love EDH as a 100 card deck format. But if you were to make a new format with, this is another hypothetical.
I would not.
All right, I would not make a new format. I would play this one.
Yeah. That should be it. Say again.
Could you on a bow?
Could you on a moat? Tyler?
I would smooch you here or there. I would smooch you anywhere.
How close can you bring the microphone?
How? Oh, probably very close indeed.
There's good.
Is this too close?
How close can you bring the microphone?
Probably to here for it to be comfortable for individuals.
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 Which individuals are you speaking of?
I'm
Which?
individually speaking about the individuals that will individually be selected for the individual selection process.